1, 2, 3.
Welcome to the Smartest Amazon Seller Podcast. You will really enjoy this episode. I've got a guest today, Trevin Peterson. I've known him for some time. Very smart in the Amazon space. Actually, the largest YouTuber I've ever had on this channel. If you know his YouTube channel, he really dives into the details, into the weeds, and because he's a seller himself. And so, Trevin, welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I always respect people that also like it's just so clear that they operate the business, that they're a seller and they're in the weeds and they're learning things. You're nice enough and passionate enough about it to share it with others. So what triggered me to want to get you on the podcast was something that's actually happening to my business that I'm considering doing. And like you're speaking to it, is I'm considering buying a private label business. It's kind of got an engine going and it's just an opportunity. Right now, there's a lot of energy in actually people buying other private label businesses. I'm sure you're aware of it. So I just want to jump in the space and, have fun because private label is higher margin. There's no denying it. So you talk private label all the time and like you're putting together this like monthly product list. Tell me just a little bit like what about the program, but more specifically, then we could dive into like the products that fit.
Okay. So with private label, I would say one of the biggest hurdles that people face is product research, finding a product that fits a certain criteria to then sell on Amazon. And I would say that if you don't do it properly, that's where people fail. And so I decided to basically release a product list that gives people the ability to pay a little monthly fee and have a bunch of different ideas that they can go and launch. Obviously, there's parts and things that they have to do on their end, like improving the product, branding the product, doing the whole 9 yards that private label entails. But that's kind of my goal and purposes with that is to just help people find that initial product and then they can run with it.
Yeah. You said something interesting. Well, like when you see a lot of products, I mean, I've done plenty of product research and you like say you're talking with your friends about some product idea. What is it that like, sometimes you consider a product for like, an hour or a day or a week. What is it about something that like takes you from the beginning to the end where you're actually placing purchase order and you're putting money down? What are the things that make a product get distinguished that way?
So I don't know what it is, but I guess this is my gift, if you will. I can look at a product pretty quick and analyze it and say, okay, this has potential, but there's a lot more digging that you have to do. So you have to break down the data and the information to back that. So the two main things that I'm looking at is obviously the demand of the product and the competition. And everybody on YouTube, podcasts, Facebook groups, that's all they talk about. Oh, you need to find a product in high demand with low competition. But what does that actually mean? And the first thing that we need to understand is what is Amazon? Amazon is a search engine, just like Google and YouTube. People go with the intent of searching something like, what is the weather? How do I fix my toilet? It's the same thing on Amazon. They're searching something very specific. And that's what we need to find. We need to find keywords that people are searching for. And once we can find those keywords, then we're like, hey, this is a product that is being searched a lot. And now we need to look at how many people are competing, like the competing products. What are the average reviews and things like that. And so that's the first thing that I'm looking at is the keyword research.
Yeah. So just this morning, I was actually talking with a friend of mine after we worked out, and he was reminiscing about some stretch arms toy product that was popular when we were kids. I was like, this could be a really good product, but and people would actually enjoy it, but they're just not searching for this. Let's say the Wayne Gretzky quote, you got to skate where the puck is moving to. And so you got to find where that traffic is. And if you can insert something interesting into that spot. Fantastic example, and I know Trevin knows this one well, is so Helium 10 did a series of YouTube videos about launching a product. They showed the product research. they isolated the top 5 products and then whittled it down to one. And it was a coffin shelf, like a home decor item. At first it seems like kind of quirky, but they did their research and there's a few things that I took away from that. I was like, yeah, that's really like a solid idea. So you'd think like a coffin shelf, how many people are actually typing coffin shelf? Not too many, but they are typing in a lot Gothic decor. So, a coffin shelf is adjacent to or part of a huge category with lots of demand, but its specific niche like had no competition at the time, or maybe one that kind of proved the idea and they were able to create a better listing, and do better marketing. That's kind of like what being an expert in e-commerce is all about, is knowing those few like moving parts, seeing like you just said, you say you look at a product and you can see an opportunity, then you bring some data in to like back that up. You're like, yeah, like, and then bring that to market. And usually like, this is where definitely being a professional helps, is like realizing what your competitors just aren't doing. Do they have an optimized product page? There's so many products out there that like they just don't have an eye of someone, branding it and being creative and pushing it. I just, spilled out a ton of the details, but what were some takeaways? Like when you are thinking about bringing, a product into, say, a competitive space, what are you considering?
I mean, for me, it's all about how are you improving it and how are you making it stand out from everyone else? If you can't tell yourself, if you were to scroll on Amazon, for example, the Gothic decor, and you started scrolling and you just imaginary like plugged your listing into that and you were scrolling, and if you can't tell yourself that you wouldn't stop to click on it, and if it wasn't unique enough and it just blended in with the rest, then you're going in the wrong direction. You need to have something that really pops out that is different than everybody else's, because what I see people do is they literally just go and copy. They're like, oh, this coffin shelf is doing really good, I'm going to go launch the same thing. And yeah, that could work, but the reality is they're already selling that. They already have the reviews. They already have the rank. So why would anyone buy your coffin shelf that's the same?
It's an uphill battle. It's an uphill battle if you're copying someone.
Yeah.
But you can learn from them a lot. You can see there was another coffin shelf, but I guarantee you, 9 out of 10 people scrolling through will see theirs and it just stands out. Now they have the reviews. You should scroll through sometime and see like they put little ornaments on it. They like, yeah, I want that for Halloween,
Yeah.
They're probably going to do really, really well. Hopefully they stock up, because the next 45 days, and this is the beginning of September right now, the next 45 days, it's going to go bananas.
It is. I'm excited for it. I know they're saying that Black Friday is going to basically start at the end of October. So I don't know if you saw that article that they released that they're saying that Black Friday could potentially start a lot sooner. Yeah. And so, now is the time to for sure prepare for that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you're not preparing for Q4, in the middle of summer, then you're not going to be ready. Interesting. But there is one thing right now about launching products that is particularly challenging. So if you're launching a new product now, Amazon limits you to 200 units. How does that, what are you doing? You've probably got a few products that you're launching, or, you consult with so many people that do it. I mean, you're in the weeds. How do you get around this 200 unit limit?
So this is a concern that a lot of people do have, and they're freaking out about it. But what I've realized with it's coming up on 3 years selling on Amazon, you just need to learn how to adapt and adjust and be willing to make those changes to be able to succeed. So what I did when I hear this 200 limit, you just got to get creative. And there's a few things that I kind of came up with that you can do. One being launch products that are priced a little bit higher. So for example, if you have a $50 or $100 product, let's use $50 as an example. $50 times by 200 units, that's $10,000. And for me, a $10,000 a month product is killer. And so the issue The issue with this 200 limit is if you're selling a product that sells 20, 50 units a day, that's only 5 days, 10 days of stock.
Yeah.
And you're going to run out of stock, and then you're going to try to replenish. And then it's going to be 3 weeks later that you get back in stock, and then you lose all that rank. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find a little bit higher price product that sells 7 units, 6 units, 5 units a day, which still equates to $10,000 a month, which is still a really, really good private label product in my opinion.
Right. So the more expensive products, I would say, I've sold a few, I've sold hundreds and hundreds of products that are under $25. And it's kind of a different ball game when you start to get to the $50 to $100. Customers are definitely doing more, calculations in their mind, like, am I going to use this? Is this worth it? Actually read the reviews. It's more of a study than inexpensive products.
For sure.
Is there something more, like, are you more cautious about certain things when you have a product that's, say up to $100?
So for me, the biggest thing, and I'm actually launching 3 products that are like $50 to $75. And the biggest thing for me with those 3 products is the quality. The products that the majority of my products sell for under $25. And I'm not going through multiple sample orders, testing different quality, testing different manufacturers, where these products that are more expensive, I've ordered multiple samples, made multiple changes, and made sure that I have the best product and that I can market it to make it look like a high quality premium product. And so that's kind of what I do. You can't just launch some cheap product and charge a high premium for it. You got to actually have a reason of why you're charging that much. And like you're saying, yes, customers do take some more time to break down that information. And they're like, should I buy this? Why should I buy that? So that's when optimizing your images, your listing, your copy, all of that is so important, because they take a little bit more time to look at the entire listing, and you need to make sure that you craft it perfectly.
Interesting. Yeah, there's right now a unique opportunity with more expensive products, since like you can keep them in stock a little bit easier with this 200 limit. Some other products, and you can blow through 200 units in a week. We're hitting that right now. We actually just struck a deal with a brand, and this is something that's selling. I'm pretty sure they're selling about 100 to 200 units a day. And we're getting limited to only send in 200 to FBA. And so the only way that like we could create a win-win scenario is we actually have distribution. And so we're going to, as soon as the FBA runs out, we're turning on the FBM and keeping that listing alive, and then sending an FBA as we can, as it scales up. So obviously
another thing to kind of add to that, if people don't have like a 3PL, what I've done is, if you can only send in 200, work out a deal with your manufacturer and have them order 500 units and have them only ship 200. And then they basically store the other 300. Yeah. And then when you can ship in the rest, have your supplier do that. And I've done that a few times, where the supplier will literally just hold your inventory for free as long as you just pay for the order. And so you don't have that lead time to wait to replenish. And that's the key right now, is if you can stay in stock. I mean, during this whole COVID, if you were able to stay in stock, you made an absolute killing. And that's going to be the same during Q4. Right.
I mean, this is just worth repeating, but like, this is going to be a Q4 like nothing we've seen before. How many places are going to be advertising huge on Black Friday in these physical stores? It's just not going to happen. And so many shoppers are going to be wary of going in. And so your digital presence matters, from stock to images. Like, everything is just going to have more traffic. It's a good problem to have. And it's worth repeating that this is still unique territory, and it's kind of a moment for your products to shine, get a lot of ratings, get a lot of sales, because as I've had a few guests recently talk, your products like reviews and your ratings, that is it's like beachfront property. Once you have that, it's actually, it pushes away competition. and it makes it more expensive for them to achieve the same thing. Like if you missed the last few episodes, that is why money's coming into space and just buying existing brands and private label products or distribution, and not, starting their own. I would say most people that are listening to podcasts, the listeners out there, they're like scrappy, and we're like willing to put together more work. We know e-commerce, and we can build these from the ground up. And I'm still, plugging in and launching products. I enjoy it. But by doing so, you're actually creating something more valuable that others can't do. So, I've actually learned a fair amount from Trevin through his YouTube channel. And I wanted to ask, I've been doing a podcast for over a year. I've dabbled in YouTube, done a lot more the last month. So what's different? What are some of the challenges? What are some of the benefits of, education, or just learning about Amazon through YouTube?
So my favorite thing about YouTube is the fact that I can share my screen with people, and that's how I'm able to simplify the process. And that's what I can do pretty good for my YouTube videos. I can talk, but also dive into my screen, where a podcast, you're trying to articulate the process without actually showing examples. Right. Where YouTube videos, you can literally look at this listing. This is what's wrong. This is how to do research. This is how to plug everything in and do the entire thing. And so that's what I really love about YouTube.
Do you know what? As you were talking about that, I actually think that if we were to contrast it to a podcast, the strength of YouTube is actually a weakness of podcast, and then the weakness of YouTube might be the strength of podcasting.
It is.
we were talking about this earlier. So podcasting, you actually can really tease apart ideas and really laser in. The listeners are actually attuned for that. They're really wanting to learn something that they've never heard before. Whereas YouTube, it's all about visual, and you can really convey an idea better. So what's a weakness of YouTube?
The biggest weakness, in my opinion, is the YouTube viewers, for whatever reason, they rather watch a video that doesn't help them progress their Amazon business. They rather watch something that showing my top 3 products that I failed. Products that I failed about. And granted, we can learn from my failed products, but let's be honest, I don't know, or they want to see a day in the life of my, an Amazon seller. They want to see a vlog of me instead of actually learning how to do keyword research, or instead of actually learning how to run a PPC campaign that's going to make your money and grow your business. Watching a day in the life of an Amazon seller is not going to help you grow your business, but that's what a lot of YouTube viewers want to watch. And that's where a lot of views on my channel go, is videos like that. So that would be my only complaint about it. But I mean, they're serious about selling on Amazon, but they just like to watch these videos and say, I'm learning to become an Amazon seller. And you've probably seen it. I've dealt with this for the last 3 years. They're like, I heard about Amazon 3 years ago, and I've just been watching YouTube videos, but I haven't started. I'm like, right. Well, I haven't started. That's horrible.
Whereas if you're not selling on Amazon, my podcast is terribly boring.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm really trying to push the envelope and what's new. I know a lot, but there's more for me to consider. I mean, I've already teased out a few new ideas through you, thinking about expensive products a little bit differently, and criteria for a good product. So yeah, that's super interesting. I'm actually curious, and I know that you crossed a 7-figure threshold. What are your goals with your selling?
So my biggest goals, like you mentioned, right now people are willing to buy Amazon businesses at a pretty good premium. They're wanted. People want these Amazon businesses. So my long-term goal is to build something that I can potentially sell, and then I can either take that money and go invest into other ventures, or I can take that money, take some from me, or go repeat the process.
Exactly.
And for me, it's a skill set that literally has changed my life forever. And I'm so thankful for the Amazon opportunity and for that skill set, because I know this is what I need to do. And if I can do this, I can make a really good income and I can sell that. And so I actually have 2 Amazon accounts. I got my second one approved by Amazon. And my goal with that second Amazon account is to just build it up and sell it. And that's all I want to do with that second account. So that's my long-term goal, is to just build it to a point and then sell it. And then with that money, go invest in real estate or invest in another business or do something different with that money.
That's a smart way to think about like any sort of like payout situation, a little for me, like improve your living situation if you want. But then also like reinvest some of that. I think as humans, we're always like interested in like growing and creating, and take one success and roll it into another. I love it. If you want to learn more about Trevin, check out his YouTube. He's got a lot of good stuff. If you want to see a small amount of stuff, you can check out my YouTube. I've only got like a handful of videos. Thanks you so much for coming on the podcast, and talking about Amazon. Love to see what you've done so far. And, if you end up selling your business, shoot, tell me. I want to hear about the process.
I appreciate it. It was an honor to be here. I hope you guys enjoyed a little bit of my knowledge that I have with Amazon. Thank you.
All right. Well, I hope all the listeners, you enjoy a good Q4. You continue to become a better e-commerce professional. Don't stop. Tease out all those secrets. So thanks for listening, and tune in next time.
1, 2, 3.